The observation deck was quiet that morning. Captain Do-hyun Kim stood with his coffee, watching the cargo ships move between the farming colonies below. His uniform was crisp, his gray hair neatly combed. He had served the Terran Federation for 30 years and never fired a shot in anger. "Captain," Lieutenant Mira Han called from her station. Her voice was tight. "We're getting distress signals. Multiple colonies. Sector 7. Do-hyun set down his coffee and walked to her console. "Show me." The screen filled with data. 6 colonies. 2 million people. All the signals had stopped at the same time. "They're gone," Mira whispered. "The Zolthrans bombed them from orbit. Everyone is dead." Do-hyun felt something cold settle in his chest. He had visited those colonies 3 months ago. He remembered children playing in parks. Farmers showing him their crops with pride. Teachers talking about their students' dreams. All gone. The communication screen flickered to life. A reptilian face appeared, scales gleaming under harsh lights. Emperor Vectis of the Zolthran Empire looked pleased with himself. "Humans of the Terran Federation," Vectis announced. "Those colonies now belong to us. You have 30 days to leave all Outer Rim territories or you will die like they did. We have studied you. You are traitors, not fighters. You will run away like you always do." The transmission ended. For a moment, nobody on the bridge spoke. Then Mira turned to look at Do-hyun. "Captain, what do we do?" Do-hyun was quiet for a long time. Then he picked up his communicator. "Send a message to Earth. Tell them to convene the Emergency Council." Deep beneath the mountains of Switzerland, old machines began to wake up. Security doors that had been sealed for 150 years started to open. Lights flickered on in corridors that had been dark for generations. In the capital city of Geneva, the Federation Council gathered in their chamber. 70 men and women from across human space, all looking grim. Admiral Jiho Park stood at the center. He was an old man now, 70 years old with white hair and tired eyes. But his voice was steady. "Counselors, we have a choice to make. We can evacuate our colonies and hope the Zolthrans stop with what they have taken. Or we can do something our grandparents swore we would never do again." Counselor Hannah Lee stood up. She was from the outer colonies. Her daughter had died in the attack. Her voice shook when she spoke. 2 million people are dead. They bombed schools, Admiral. They killed children. "I know," Jiho said quietly. "That is why I am asking you to vote. Should we open the vault?" Everyone in the chamber knew about the vault. Every human child learned about it in school. It was the place where humanity had locked away everything they knew about war. 10,000 years of violence, weapons, and strategy. The things that had nearly destroyed Earth before humans finally learned to live in peace. For 150 years, that door had stayed closed. "All who agree to open the vault, raise your hand," the council president said. Every hand went up. "Send a message to Emperor Vectis," the president ordered. "Tell him this. You have woken something that we spent centuries putting to sleep. Leave our colonies now. This is your only chance." On his flagship, Emperor Vectis read the human message and laughed. "They threaten us with words. How pathetic. They have no weapons. They have no soldiers. They have fought no wars for 150 years. He turned to his officers. "Send all our fleets. We will take Earth itself." But Vectis did not know the truth. Humanity had not stopped fighting because they were weak. They had stopped fighting because they had become too good at it. They had nearly killed themselves with their own wars. They had looked at what they could do and chosen to lock it away. They had spent 150 years trying to be something better than killers. Now the Zolthrans had reminded them what they really were. Deep in the vault, Professor Taewoo Shin stood before the ancient doors. His hands were shaking. He had studied history his whole life. He knew what was stored inside. "Open it," he said. The doors unsealed with a hiss like a sleeping dragon taking its first breath. Across human space, everything changed. Farmers received orders to report for military training. Shipyards that built cargo vessels began building warships. Scientists who studied crops began studying weapons. The knowledge had always been there, buried deep in human memory, waiting. Within 3 weeks, humanity transformed. When Zolthran scout ships arrived at the border world of New Harmony, they expected to find frightened colonists ready to surrender. Instead, they found orbital weapons platforms, minefields, and warships that moved like hunters. The Zolthran commander sent one message back to his fleet. "Something is wrong. The humans are not running. They are ready." But by then it was already too late. The Zolthran 3rd Attack Fleet arrived at New Harmony with 43 warships. Admiral Korvac stood on his bridge, confident and relaxed. His species had conquered 17 worlds. This would be the 18th. One defense station, 8 small ships, his sensor officer reported. This will be easy. Begin the attack, Korvax ordered. I want this finished before lunch. Then space exploded. The single defense station unfolded like a flower made of steel. Hidden platforms appeared from nowhere. The 8 small ships launched missiles that moved with frightening intelligence, dodging every defense and hitting engines with perfect accuracy. The platforms fired metal projectiles that moved faster than anything Korvax had ever seen. Return fire, he screamed. But his ships were designed to bomb planets, not fight other warships. Especially not warships that moved like predators hunting prey. 12 Zalthran ships died in 90 seconds. They know which ships have our commanders, his tactical officer shouted. They are targeting leadership vessels first. A human destroyer appeared right next to Korvax's flagship, so close he could see its weapons. His shields died. His engines failed. His ship went dark. All vessels retreat. Korvax ordered into his emergency communicator. But the humans had placed mines at every escape route. 5 more Zalthran ships exploded when they tried to jump to hyperspace. Of 43 ships that entered the system, only 3 escaped. They carried terrible news back to the Empire. The humans were not merchants. They were something else entirely. On Earth, Admiral Jiho Park studied the battle reports. Around him, officers who had trained for a war they hoped would never come now worked with grim purpose. Complete victory at New Harmony, Captain Minyuk Song reported. 40 enemy ships destroyed. 3 escaped. Our casualties are 6 wounded, 0 dead. Jiho nodded slowly. Show me where all Zalthran forces are located. The holographic display lit up with red icons showing enemy positions. Supply depots. Patrol routes. Staging areas. They are still organized for attack, Jiho observed. They have not shifted to defense. They still think they are winning. Should we defend our other colonies? Minyuk asked. No, Jiho said. We are not going to defend. We are going to attack. What happened next shocked the galaxy. Human forces did not fight with honor. They did not announce their attacks. They simply appeared, destroyed their targets, and vanished before help could arrive. A supply convoy heading to the front lines. Destroyed. A repair station for damaged warships. Sabotaged, then blown apart. A forward command post. Its commanders found dead in their beds, killed by human soldiers who came in the night like ghosts. The Zalthrans had never fought an enemy like this. An enemy that used tricks, deception, and terror. On the Zalthran homeworld, Emperor Vectis summoned his military commander. High Admiral Tarkus entered the throne room with his head bowed. How are we losing? Vectis demanded. How are we losing to a species that has not fought a war in 150 years? Your Majesty, our intelligence was wrong, Tarkus said quietly. The humans were not weak. They were sleeping. Explain. Tarkus activated a holographic display. We studied their recent history. What we missed were the 10,000 years before that. Your Majesty, humanity did not evolve on a gentle world. Their planet tried to kill them constantly. They had to become apex predators just to survive. So they survived. We have conquered survivors before. Not like these, Tarkus said, and now there was fear in his voice. They did not just survive. They dominated. They spread across their entire world, conquering every environment. Then they had no enemies left, so they fought each other. Civil wars. Not just wars, Majesty. 10,000 years of constant conflict. Every generation learned from the previous one. By the time they unified their world, they had more combat experience than any species we know. They had refined warfare into a perfect science. Vectis leaned forward. Then why did they stop fighting? Because they became so good at it that they nearly destroyed themselves. They looked at what they had become and made a choice. Evolve beyond violence or go extinct. Tarkus met his emperor's eyes. For 150 years they chose peace. They locked everything away. Every weapon. Every strategy. Every dark lesson they had learned. Then we attacked their colonies, Vectis whispered. Yes, Your Majesty. We reminded them what they are. We gave them a reason to open that locked door. And now they remember everything. Tarkus pulled up casualty reports. In 3 weeks they have destroyed 40% of our fleet. They have done this while deliberately avoiding civilian casualties. They have captured 5 of our worlds by simply telling our people that surrender means safety, and our own citizens believe them. They are disrupting our supply lines. They are reading our communications. They are moving faster than we can think. Can we win? Vectis asked. No, Your Majesty. Not unless they make mistakes. And they do not make mistakes. They have had 10,000 years to learn from every mistake possible. Tarkus paused. Your Majesty, there is something else you must understand. What they are doing to us now. In their ancient wars they would have called this restraint. If they fought us the way they once fought each other, our civilization would already be gone. The throne room fell silent. Emperor Vectus finally understood. He had not attacked merchants. He had attacked sleeping monsters who had been trying very hard to be something better. And now those monsters were teaching him the difference between mercy and weakness. Commander Soyan Nam watched 6 Zalthran cruisers through her display screen. They were guarding a mining operation in what used to be neutral space. The enemy ships sat in perfect formation, ready to defend against any attack from the front. So we will not attack from the front, Soyan said calmly. Take us into the asteroid belt. Launch the drones. Her destroyer, the Inchan's Pride, slipped between the floating rocks. Behind it, 40 small drones spread out. Each drone was simple. Each carried 1 missile. But together, connected by quantum signals, they became a weapon with a shared intelligence. Drones ready, her weapons officer reported. We are far enough away that they cannot see us yet. Activate them. The Zalthran sensors suddenly screamed warnings. 40 objects appeared on their screens looking like incoming missiles. Their automatic defenses engaged, shooting at the drones. While they were busy, human destroyers emerged from the asteroid belt above the enemy formation, where their weapons could not reach. The battle lasted 17 minutes. All 6 Zalthran cruisers were destroyed or disabled. 3 humans were wounded. 0 were killed. That is the 8th victory this week, Lieutenant Juno Bay said. They keep falling for the same tricks. Because they have never fought an enemy that uses deception, Soyan replied. They believe in honor, in fair fights, in glory. Ambushes, tricks, fear tactics. These are human inventions. We learned them because we kept fighting ourselves for thousands of years. On Earth, Professor Taewoo Shin worked deep in the vault. He and other historians had become military advisors overnight. They were translating ancient strategies into modern warfare. This is from the Mongol campaigns, 13th century, he explained to a room full of naval commanders. They would pretend to retreat, looking defeated. Then they would ambush the enemy forces that chased them. The same principle works in space combat. Make the enemy think they are winning. Let them overextend. Then cut off their escape. Admiral Jiho Park nodded. We used that strategy at New Harmony. Yes, and at 3 other battles. It works because the Zalthrans do not understand that weakness can be fake. Taewoo pulled up another ancient text. This is from Sun Tzu, Ancient China. He said, all warfare is deception. When you are strong, appear weak. When you are near, appear far away. We have been doing exactly that, Captain De Hee Kong added. Our fleet looks small because we keep most ships hidden in asteroid belts and gas clouds. The Zalthrans think they are fighting 50 human ships. The real number is 230. Jiho smiled without humor. Good. Keep them believing that. Now, what is the status of Operation Prometheus? De Hee pulled up a star map. Strike Team 7 successfully infiltrated the Zalthran shipyard at Rigel 4. They planted nanomachines in the construction materials. Any ship built there in the next 6 months will have hull failures after 10 hours in hyperspace. Sabotage, Taewoo observed. Another specialty humans perfected during the resistance movements of the 20th century. A young officer looked uncomfortable. Will the ships explode? Will the crews die? No, De Hee assured him. The hulls will crack, forcing them to drop out of hyperspace. The crews will be stranded but alive. We are broadcasting their locations to Zalthran rescue services. The officer looked confused. We are sabotaging their fleet but saving their crews? We are showing them we could kill them but choose not to, Jiho explained. This is psychological warfare. We want their military to understand they are beaten, not turned into martyrs. Dead enemies become heroes in songs. Defeated enemies become cautious. In Zalthran space, Fleet Admiral Tarkus watched reports flood in from every sector. Human forces appeared from nowhere, struck with precision, then vanished. His forces could not catch them for a proper battle. They refused to fight fair, his analyst complained. Fair? Tarkus roared. There is no fairness in war. Exactly, sir. The humans know that better than anyone. Look at these 6 battles from this week. They used different tactics in every single one. At New Harmony, hidden platforms. At Centauri, a fake retreat into a trap. At Rigel, electronic warfare to blind our sensors. They never repeat the same approach. Why not? Because they adapt faster than we can defend. By the time we develop a counter to one tactic, they have moved to another. Sir, I studied their history. In their ancient wars, they called this combined arms doctrine. Use every weapon, every trick, every approach simultaneously. Never let the enemy predict what comes next. Tarkus stared at the map showing his fleets disappearing one by one. How do we fight an enemy like this? I do not think we can, sir. Not without losses we cannot afford. Emperor Vectis made his decision alone in the dark. He called Tarkus to his private chambers. I am going to ask for peace, Vectis said quietly. Tarkus looked relieved. A wise choice, Your Majesty. My council will call me a coward. Your Majesty, we have lost half our fleet in 4 weeks. The humans have barely used their full strength. If we continue, there will be no empire left. Tarkus showed him reports. And look at this. Our losses are 98% military. They have avoided harming civilians almost entirely. They are being merciful. Merciful? Vectis laughed bitterly. They are destroying us. Yes, Majesty. But they could do it faster and crueler. I read their history. When humans wage total war, they do not stop until the enemy civilization is ashes. What they are doing to us is restrained. Vectis was silent. Contact them. Tell them I want to negotiate. Your Majesty, they sent us a message. It has been broadcasting for a week. What does it say? It says, we did not want this war. We do not want to destroy you. Leave our territories, pay for the colonies you destroyed, and we will stop. Continue, and we will show you what we are truly capable of. Tarkus paused. Your Majesty, that is both a threat and a promise. They are saying they are still holding back. Vectis stared in horror. Still holding back? After everything they have done? Yes, Your Majesty. Because they have not attacked our homeworld. They have not targeted civilians. They have not used their worst weapons. Tarkus showed him a final file. This is from their archives. A weapon called a nuclear bomb from before they had spaceships. One device destroys an entire city. They had thousands. And they gave them up after learning what they could do. Vectis understood then. He had not attacked a weak species. He had attacked warriors who had frightened themselves so badly that they chose peace. Until he forced them to remember. Emperor Vectis's peace offer was rejected, but not by the humans. His own military commanders rejected it. When news of the proposed surrender leaked, hardline officers staged a coup. They arrested Vectis, declared martial law, and appointed Supreme Commander Rakdos as the new leader. The Emperor has gone soft, Rakdos announced to the Empire. We will not surrender to inferior beings. We will commit everything to one final assault. We will strike Earth itself and end this war. Admiral Jiho Park received the news with a heavy heart. He had hoped to end this with minimal bloodshed. Now the Zoltharans were forcing his hand. They are mobilizing everything, Captain Dahi Kong reported. Every ship, every soldier, every resource. 60% of their remaining military is heading for Sol System. How long? 72 hours. Jiho turned to his officers. Initiate Protocol Fortress. Every defense platform online. Every mine deployed. Every ship in position. He paused. And unseal the Prometheus arsenal. His officers went silent. Everyone knew what Prometheus meant. Sir, Captain Minyuk Song said carefully, those weapons are. I know what they are, Captain. And I know what using them means. Jiho's face was hard as stone. But if the Zoltharans come to Earth, we will show them exactly why humanity locked those weapons away. 72 hours later, the Zoltharan armada appeared at the edge of Sol System. Supreme Commander Rakdos stood on his super dreadnought and smiled at the sight of 1,500 warships under his command. The humans have nowhere to run, his officer said. Set course for Earth. We end this today. The massive fleet moved forward in a wedge formation designed to smash through any defense. They passed Neptune, then Uranus. No resistance. Rakdos began to relax. Perhaps the humans had fled. Then the mines started exploding. The outer asteroid belt lit up like a string of fireworks. Proximity mines struck the front ships. Dozens died, but the fleet was so large it absorbed the losses and kept moving. Primitive tactics, Rakdos sneered. Continue forward. At Jupiter, they encountered 36 human destroyers that appeared to be retreating toward the inner system. Rakdos ordered pursuit. The Zoltharan fleet accelerated, eager to catch and destroy the fleeing humans. They were halfway through the asteroid belt when Sergeant Yuna Choi, commanding a hidden weapons platform, reported, "They are committed. They are in the kill box. All units," Admiral Jiho broadcast from Earth, "execute Operation Thermopylae." The retreating human ships suddenly reversed course. The asteroids revealed themselves to be camouflaged weapons platforms. Jupiter's moons lit up with mass driver batteries. And from Earth's moon, Mars, and dozens of orbital stations, a new weapon powered up. The Quantum Entanglement Disruptor. The weapon humanity had almost refused to rebuild. Fire, Jiho ordered quietly. Space screamed. The QED pulses struck the Zalthran fleet invisibly and instantaneously. Every ship's system simply stopped. Engines died. Weapons powered down. Life support switched to emergency reserves. Communications went dead. 1,500 warships went dark in seconds, drifting helplessly. Did we kill them all? Captain Minyuk whispered in horror. No, Jiho said firmly. Life support is limited, not gone. They have 6 hours of emergency power. He opened the broadcast channel. All Zalthran vessels, this is Admiral Jiho Park. Your ships are disabled but your crews are alive. We are sending rescue vessels. Any ship that reactivates weapons will be destroyed. Any ship that cooperates will be towed to safety and its crew will be treated humanely. You came to destroy us. We choose to save you. That is the difference between us. Throughout the disabled fleet, Zalthran crews listened in stunned silence. Supreme Commander Rakdos sat on his powerless bridge, staring at the speaker. They could kill us all, his tactical officer whispered. Why do they not? Rakdos had no answer. Over the next 12 hours, human ships moved through the debris field, towing disabled vessels to safe orbits. Medical teams boarded ships where life support had failed, evacuating crews to hospitals. The largest rescue operation in galactic history was conducted by the same species that had just won the most one-sided victory anyone could remember. On Earth, crowds gathered to watch on public displays. But they were not cheering. The mood was somber. They had won, but seeing disabled ships and desperate alien crews reminded them why humanity had chosen peace in the first place. Professor Taewoo Shin stood in the vault, looking at files that would soon be sealed again. We remembered how to fight, he said quietly. But we also remembered why we stopped. Captain Soyeon Nam visited a holding facility where Zalthran crews were being processed. She found a young officer sitting with his head in his hands. We were supposed to be warriors, the officer said in broken English. We were supposed to win glory. War is not about glory, Soyeon replied gently. That is what humans learned over 10,000 years. War is survival. And sometimes it is mercy. Why did you not destroy us? We would have destroyed you. Because we remember what it is like to be on the edge of extinction. We have been where you are now, defeated, afraid, wondering if our people will survive. We chose to be better than our worst moments. We hope you will make the same choice. The officer looked up at her. In his eyes she saw something change. Not defeat. Understanding. In a makeshift cell aboard the carrier Sol, Supreme Commander Rakdos sat across from Admiral Jiho. Between them lay surrender terms. You have won, Rakdos said flatly. What do you demand? These are not demands. They are requirements for peace. Immediate ceasefire. Withdrawal from our territories. Reparations to families of those you killed. War crimes trials for commanders who targeted civilians. Demilitarization of your border for 20 years. That leaves us defenseless. No. That leaves you unable to wage offensive war. You keep defensive forces under supervision. Jiho leaned forward. Commander, I am giving you a chance to save your civilization. Sign these terms, and in 20 years your grandchildren might live in a galaxy where our people trade and cooperate. Refuse, and your grandchildren might not exist. Rakdos stared at the document, then signed with a shaking hand. I do not understand you, he said quietly. You could destroy us. Why do you not? Because we spent 10,000 years learning to destroy enemies, Jiho replied. We spent the last 150 learning something harder, how to turn enemies into neighbors. We prefer to practice the second skill. 6 weeks after the Battle of Sol, the Galactic Council convened. Representatives from 97 species gathered in the orbital station above Concordia, and for the first time in history, every seat was filled. Ambassador Yoonji Choi represented the Terran Federation. She was a career diplomat who had spent her life negotiating trade deals and cultural exchanges. Now she stood before the galaxy to discuss war and peace. The Terran Federation did not seek this conflict, she began. We were attacked without warning. 2 million of our citizens, civilians, families, children, were killed in the opening bombardment. The chamber was silent. Under galactic law, we would have been justified in waging total war. We would have been justified in demanding the complete destruction of the Zalthran Empire. we would have been justified in seeking revenge. Yunji paused. We chose not to. We chose restraint. We chose mercy. Not because we are weak, but because we remember what it is like to be consumed by war. She displayed battle statistics. Zalthran military casualties: 78,000 killed, 340,000 wounded or captured. Zalthran civilian casualties: 247, all accidental in active war zones with human forces providing immediate medical help. These numbers represent a choice, Yunji continued. We could have made those civilian casualties number in the millions. We chose not to. We could have destroyed their homeworld. We chose not to. We could have waged a war of extinction. We chose not to. A representative from the Meridian Collective stood. Ambassador Choi, your military displayed capabilities that were unknown. Many of us are concerned. You should be concerned, Yunji said bluntly. For 150 years, humanity has been peaceful. We have been merchants, explorers, artists, and scientists. We chose that life deliberately because we knew what we were capable of and we did not want to be that anymore. She let that sink in. But the Zalthrans did not understand. They mistook our peace for weakness. They thought we were prey. They learned the truth: we are not prey. We are predators who chose to become something better. And now, the Meridian representative asked, what will humanity do with this revealed strength? We will do exactly what we have been doing for 150 years. We will trade, explore, create, and build. We will be good neighbors and better friends. Yunji's voice softened. But we will also remember. We will remember that peace is a choice, not weakness. And anyone who attacks human civilians again will learn what we are capable of when mercy is no longer an option. The vote on the peace treaty was unanimous. The terms were harsh but fair, designed to prevent future aggression while giving the Zalthran civilization a path to recovery. On the Zalthran homeworld, Councillor Vectis, the former emperor reinstated after the coup failed, began implementing the treaty. It was difficult. Many Zalthrans felt humiliated. But something else was happening. Zalthran civilians who had been treated by human doctors, rescued by human ships, or housed in human facilities during the chaos began telling stories. Stories of enemies who treated prisoners with dignity. Stories of warriors who chose mercy when they could have chosen slaughter. A new saying emerged in Zalthran culture: never mistake human kindness for human weakness. 1 year after the war, a memorial was built on New Haven, the first colony that was bombed. Human children played in the reconstructed parks while veterans watched quietly. A Zalthran diplomat visiting the memorial asked a human general, "Would you really go that far again if someone attacked you?" The general was quiet for a moment. "We hope we never have to. But if you harm our innocent again, we will not hesitate. That is the burden of being human. We remember everything our ancestors did. Both the peace they built and the wars they fought. And we will use whichever one we must." Across the galaxy, the impact of the war rippled outward. Species that had been considering aggression reconsidered. Trade agreements with humanity became more equitable overnight. Territorial disputes settled quickly when humans offered to mediate. 3 aggressive empires that had been planning expansion suddenly announced they would focus on internal development instead. When asked why, one of their leaders said simply, "We saw what happened to the Zalthrans. We have no desire to wake that particular sleeping giant." The Terran Federation received dozens of requests for defense pacts and military training programs. Admiral Jiho Park, now retired, met with each requesting species personally. "We will teach you how to defend yourselves," he told them. "But understand this, we will not teach you how to conquer others. We will not help you become what we once were. If you want to learn from humanity, you must learn both lessons: how to fight when necessary and how to choose peace when possible." On Earth, the vault was sealed once more. But this time, everyone knew it could be opened. The knowledge was there, waiting like a sword that hung on the wall, visible, accessible, but untouched unless absolutely needed. Professor Taewoo Shin gave a lecture at Geneva University 5 years after the war. A student asked him, "Do you think humanity will ever have to open the vault again?" Taewoo looked out the window at the peaceful city below. "I hope not. But hope is not a strategy. We remain peaceful because we choose to be, not because we have to be. And the galaxy knows this now. They know we have teeth. They know we choose not to use them. That choice, that restraint, is what makes us strong. Not the weapons we have, but the weapons we refuse to use." The student nodded slowly. "So the war changed nothing?" "No," Taewoo said. "It changed everything. For 150 years, the galaxy saw us as harmless. Now they see us as we truly are, dangerous beings who choose to be kind. And That is the most powerful deterrent of all. In the end, the war lasted 6 weeks. The peace that followed lasted generations. Not because humanity was feared, but because they had proven something more important than strength. They had proven that the strong could be merciful, that predators could be gentle, that the most dangerous species in the galaxy could also be the most compassionate. And the galaxy never forgot. The end.